this tutorial covers the 5-number summary. So let's take a look at a situation. A local police department is interested in the speeds on a busy highway around the time of 9 p.m. An officer measures the speed in miles per hour of 30 autos on this stretch of road. The data follows. Okay, so that would mean the 72 means that the officer measured somebody going 72 miles per hour, 74 miles per hour, and there are 30 total values there. Okay, so we'll come back to that data in a minute. So this data can be organized and summarized in many different ways. One useful way is to report the 5-number summary. So the 5-number summary is a set of numbers that characterizes both the center and the spread of a data set. So it's a pretty useful group of numbers. So the 5-number summary, the 5 numbers consist of the minimum, the first quartile, or Q1, the median, the third quartile, or Q3, and the maximum of the data set. So we should be familiar with the minimum, just the smallest value, the maximum, the largest value, the median is the middle number, or the average of the 2 middle numbers. Now the only thing we maybe don't know is the first quartile and the third quartile. So the first quartile, sometimes known as the lower quartile, is the value that approximately separates the lower 25% from the upper 75%. It's abbreviated as Q1. Another way to think about this is that the median will split the data into 2 halves. The first quartile splits the first half of the data in half. So it separates the lower quarter from the upper 3 quarters. Alright, now the third quartile, or the upper quartile, is the value that approximately separates the lower 75% from the upper 25% of the data, abbreviated as Q3. Okay, so this is really the same as the median of the second half of the data. Okay, and then the median is known as the second quartile, or the middle quartile, or Q2. So Q1 is first quartile, Q2 is the median, Q3 is the third quartile. Okay, so now let's actually find the 5-number summary for the speed data. Okay, notice that I have put the data in order. Okay, that's always the first thing you need to do when you're finding the 5-number summary. Okay, then what I like to do is, and then I have the 5-number summary all listed out here: minimum, Q1, median, Q3, maximum. And the minimum and maximum are the easiest. So the minimum was 55, maximum was 87, so very fast. Okay, and then what I like to do next is to find the median. Okay, so we know that there are 30 values here, so n is 30. So the median will be between the 15th and 16th values, because we have an even number of data values. Okay, so let's count in 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that means the median is between the 15th and 16th value there. Okay, so our median is going to end up being the average of those 2 numbers, which is 66.5. So 66 plus 67 divided by 2. Okay, now what the median does is it splits your data. What I like to do is to split it into the first half and the second half. So the first half goes from 55 to 66, second half goes from 67 to 87. Okay, now the other thing to mention here is that if you only have one number in the middle, so if we had an odd number of data values, the median would just would not be included in the first half or the second half. So we would start our halves on either side of that median. Okay, now Q1. Q1 is the median of the first half of the data. So we have 15 values in the first half of the data. So the median is going to be the 8th data value. So that'll give me 7 values, then the 8th value, then another 7 values for 15. So I'm going to count in and find the 8th value. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the median of the first half, or Q1, is 60. Okay. Now to find Q3, we do the same thing but for the second half of the data. So again, I just count in and find the 8th value. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That ends up being 71. So 71 is Q3. Okay, so Q1 is 60 and Q3 is 71. Okay, so again, like we said before, the 5-number summary gives me both a way of measuring the center as well as the spread of the data. So we can see the median value is 66.5, so that's the speed that was right in the middle. Okay, we can also measure the spread. So we now know that the speeds ranged from 55 all the way to 87. Okay, so we can see that they're spread out by, the minimum and maximum differ by about 32 miles per hour, which is a pretty large range. Okay, we can also see that in between Q1 and Q3, that's going to give you about half of your values. So it's basically going to be the second fourth of the data and the third fourth of the data. So that makes up 2/4 or a half. So half of the speeds were between 60 and 71. So that also gives us a good way to measure the spread of the data. So this has been your tutorial on the 5-number summary, which are the numbers that I have listed right here. Thanks for watching.